What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for December 18th, 2022. I apologize for the background noise today. It is complete pandemonium here at my house. Kids were up early. Mom's helping them wrap my Christmas presents. We went through some toys yesterday and did a little bit of a purge. We discovered some toys that we had forgotten about. And of course, they are the noisy toys. So I apologize. But it was not as chaotic as it was at the Buffalo Bills game yesterday. And I'm going to take a couple minutes here because this is a Philly sports podcast and just go on a little rant because you know what? I can. They were throwing snowballs on the field at the players, both sides. They were throwing them at Tyreek Hill. They threw them at Tua. I saw the post-game interview. They were throwing them at Colleen Wolfe on the set. I haven't really heard much about it. Just kind of throwing that out there. I don't know. I was flipping between some of the bowl games yesterday, so maybe they addressed it, but I didn't see the outrage on Twitter. Where's it at? I didn't see headlines anywhere. However, being that this was the anniversary earlier in this week, we talked about, Philly fans, they throw snowballs at Santa. They booed Santa. I guess because Santa wasn't there. Maybe that's why. Or maybe they'll figure out a way because the Bills Mafia, they're awesome. They're great fans. They're basically Philly fans, but from Buffalo. We were throwing people through tables long before they were. Stop it. But they're good fans. And somehow it'll be Philly fans infiltrated Buffalo. I forget what their stadium. It used to be Rich Stadium. I don't know what it is now. But where's the outrage? Had that happened at a game in Philadelphia, it would be the end of the world. It would be, this, that, and by the way, they're not the favorites to win the Super Bowl. The hatred is just laughable at this point. But what I'm saying is, where is the outrage for the fucking snowballs? Not there. Okay, rant over. I don't want to waste all the time ranting about that, but somehow. Anyway, Temple lost. It was an ugly, ugly game against Ole Miss. Reynolds was out. He had his hand surgery, so they lacked size, and I think it caught up with them late in that game. But, I mean, it was like, Thatcher, let's watch the game, and you can kind of look at and work on some of the things, and it was just, nobody can make a shot. It was just ugly, so you move on. Not a good year this year, I guess, on North Broad unless they can somehow run through the AAC. Flyers lost in a huge high-scoring game against the Rangers. Again, that's good for our offensive young players. Also good for our standings with getting that one of those top three picks. The Vikings, Jesus, what a game that was. I don't know if they're that good or Indianapolis is that bad or the NFL is fixed, I heard some people saying, but biggest comeback in NFL history. And poor Matt Ryan, there's the local Philly tie there. He now is the loser on the biggest comeback in NFL history as well as the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. So, poor Matty Ice. But this day in Philly sports history, we're taking it all the way back to 49. So this day, December 18th, 1949, the Eagles played the Rams for the NFL championship. The Eagles won the game 14-0. It was their second consecutive NFL championship, second consecutive shutout in the championship. Like I said, they just dominant. They were just a dominant team. I think they actually went and I could be wrong on this. Don't quote me on this, but I think they may have, this going off the top of my head, they may have lost in 47, so they may have gone three straight or they were right there. But either way, they went 11-1 that season. The only loss coming out in Chicago to the Bears. Little known fact, and I mentioned this at one point a couple months ago maybe, or a couple weeks ago, but they drafted Chuck Bednarik in that draft. So Chuck Bednarik actually won 2 titles as a member of the Eagles. He was a rookie on this 49 team, and then The next time they won was 1960. He was one of the stars on that team. This was the first NFL title game played out in the West. So I think the furthest they had played it was Chicago. So this is the first one on the West Coast after the Rams had left to move out there. The Eagles came in as 7-point favorites. Steve Van Buren rushed 31 times for 196 yards. The defense was incredible. They held the Rams to 21 rushing yards total. I think they blocked a punt for a touchdown in that game too. So just an overall dominant performance by the Eagles to win their second consecutive NFL championship. Funny fact about this, because we talked a little bit about Greasy Neal already on this pod when he was involved in a trade with the Phillies. He didn't like to fly. So they had to actually take a train from Philly out to LA for the game. And they actually stopped, I think, somewhere in like Chicago or somewhere to get a couple practices in too. So it was like, now you fly and you're in LA in 5-6 hours. Now they took literally, actually maybe it doesn't even take 5-6 hours, but they had to take the train. It probably took them forever to get out there because they were stopping and doing practice and everything. But just a little fun fact there. But this day, Philly sports history, the Eagles won their second consecutive NFL championship, beating the Rams 14-0. Today's game against Chicago, I cannot figure out this game for the life of me. I feel it's a lot like last week's game where I cannot find a way that the Eagles do not cover the 8.5-point spread. I want it to be like in my head, I'm like, this is the classic letdown spot. You have the big game coming up next week against the Cowboys. I don't see those. Chicago is just a bad team. They're just bad. Like, I don't see a way. And like, I've tried. I've gone back and forth on this. I'm like, oh, and like, I mean, I've talked to Bears fans. Mike, thank you for the input yesterday, and I just can't come up with a way. So we're 6-7 on the year. We're gonna go to try to make our record 500 for the year. I'm taking the Eagles minus the points. I can't see, and in my head, I look for them to come out early and just kind of coast, kind of get through the game. So maybe late Chicago gets a backdoor cover, but I don't even see that happening. Like, I see this game over by halftime, to be completely honest. And like I said, I've tried. Just like the Giants game last week, I tried to come up with scenarios on how, and like, there's just no way. I mean, the defense practices against Jalen Hurts, so I feel Jalen Hurts is a better running quarterback than what Justin Fields is. Obviously, he's a far superior passer, but I can't even see that. And they've proven over, excuse me, they've proven over the course of this year that they don't beat themselves. So, I mean, I think the Colts are a better team than the Bears. So there was that, but I'm sorry, I just can't see it. The official play for the day, I bet it. Eagles minus the 8.5. We'll move our record to 500. Like I said, I just see them dominating, and it might not be as dominant as it was against the Giants, but I think they get the job done, and then we move on to Christmas Eve and the showdown with Dallas. Now, Dallas is in a tough spot because they're going down to Jacksonville, scrappy Jacksonville team, who their coach is Dougie P, who knows the Cowboys somewhat well. And he's played against Dak and all those guys, so he knows how to prep. He has the Jags playing pretty good. Don't be surprised if they're in for a tough match. I actually sprinkled a little Jacksonville money line today when I was putting my bets in. I think the Cowboys are in a classic letdown spot because that game next week means way more to the Cowboys than it does the Eagles. So don't be surprised. I'm not making it official. I'm not going out on that limb, but don't necessarily be surprised if Jacksonville gives them a game. So we'll be flipping back and forth. But Eagles minus the 8.5. Second straight NFL championship back in 1949. Go Birds. Have yourselves a Sunday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.